All right. So you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. This is a Newsweek article. It is, what is MATGA, anti-Trump women's deadly new trend?
I
So,
am. Shoot. So I'll just mention. Hi. I know you probably don't remember me. I am the Smile TUT. I have been like off the face of the earth for a few months. I have done a few videos with the AWW. Every time I say your name, I think of root beer.
well, anti-woke
AWW.
warrior is fewer syllables than AWW, so you might as well just say anti-woke warrior.
Yeah, it's just longer and it rolls off the tongue better to say AWW.
All right.
Um, but yes, I am the news commentator kind of guy that was around for a while, and then the summer just destroyed everything. But I am should be back. So I have brought this up to AWW's attention a while ago, and I also was bringing him other suggestions throughout the months. Was
I
it?
responded to
Yeah,
those. I mean, I think I made
yeah.
videos about those
You
kind of
made
stuff.
videos on most of them, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, there
Um,
was the one like naked teaching that I never made a video about, so I don't
oh
care.
yeah, that was just
Yeah.
insane, man. But basically, the way I heard of this whole thing, my parents were they just after the election completely changed. They were default Republican, just voting R down ballot because they didn't really care. The first Trump shooting, they got really deep into this political stuff, and they were asking me because they know I'm always looking into this stuff. And all of a sudden, they come to me telling me, "Hey, what do you know about this MATGA?" I'm like, "What's that?" And so I look into it, and yeah, it's batshit insane. Forgive my French, but I'm sure we'll go through and read this article so that way I don't have to explain it to you. You can read it for yourself.
Right.
So, do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
Why don't you go ahead and read it?
All right. In the wake of Tuesday's election results, some women frustrated by President elect Donald Trump's return to the White House are using a centuries old metaphor about women poisoning their husbands to channel their disappointment, causing a stir online. The Make Aqua Tofana Great Again, or MATGA movement, is a recent online trend in which some women humorously, my ass,
Mm-hmm.
advocate for reviving Aqua Tofana, a 17th century poison used by women to kill and escape their abusive husbands. Okay, so I'll explain some of the background because they don't in this article. Aqua Tofana, I believe, was an Italian. I don't have the exact area, but she was a lady in the older times when certain poisons weren't detectable. And she was a massive serial killer who sold poisons in, like, I guess, facial cream
They were
boxes and
in
stuff.
cosmetic bottles, so they look like cosmetics
Yeah,
that the women were bringing home. Yeah.
stuff like that. And it was a three-layered poison where you do it in like three takes and they just basically die. I think asbestos was the main ingredient, but I don't remember for sure. Um, I had all that looked up today, and then I don't know why I exited out of that. But
Well, the
yeah, I'm
active
pretty
here,
sure
I
it was
got the active
asbestos.
ingredients right here. The active ingredients
Oh,
are mixture are known, but not how it was blended. Mostly arsenic and lead.
arsenic's what it was. I was
Yeah.
close. I was thinking asbestos. And again, arsenic poisoning, I'm pretty sure is detectable now, so it wouldn't work the same way.
Yeah.
But go ahead and slay, Queen.
Arsenic is a deadly poison. It's actually an alloy.
Hmm.
So if you didn't know that, arsenic
No,
is made
I,
out of metal.
I wasn't. I wasn't too aware of that.
Yeah.
Now, it's not exactly the ending of husbands that I'm worried about. All it takes is one person to say, "I'm gonna go do it to a water supply."
Oh yeah.
All it takes is one crazy person to say, "You know what? I'm going to Thanksgiving dinner, and I know this one uncle that I really don't like.
Yeah.
So how about I drop some of this in his champagne, whatever this man is drinking?" You get the point.
Well,
I don't do
the
that
the thing
alcohol.
is, I don't think that that's going to be such an issue. So getting to the water supply and getting enough product, enough poison into the water supply, it would be very difficult. These things are locked down, and you need like tanker trucks filled with this stuff to
Yes,
to cause a difference. And,
I'm sure it's a bit hyperbolic to say a
yeah.
water supply,
Hmm.
but have you seen what's happened these past few years?
I
I would
know.
not be
Yeah.
surprised.
I mean, yeah. People could
Um,
try that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure somebody's going to try it. I don't know how well it's going to work, but
Yeah.
some nut job can try it.
Yeah.
The main thing I'm worried about is like families. Because did you hear? There was this lady who put an ice pick into her father for voting for a party that she disagreed with.
Right. That was you're talking about. I think what it happened like in Oregon or Washington. I
Yeah, I
think.
think it was Oregon or Washington.
Yeah, and they
I
were
mean, stuff like that.
arguing, and then she killed her father. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy stuff like that to where it's like, I am expecting the worst out of this. And I came to a realization the other day that these women don't have a lot of the life experience that I do. And I'm going to circle around to tell you this story. I was walking outside on my daily run. I was kind of tired, so I started walking. I look on the ground, and there's a germinated acorn seed just laying there on the ground. It wasn't underground or anything, but it was already sprouting. I'm like, oh crap. I picked that seed up, I plant it in the ground, and I realized, oh shoot, winter will kill it. But here's the thing. How many women take the time these days to go outside and do those kinds of things and get the chance to experience something that rare?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the ladies are all about social media and their friend groups and appearing a certain way in public.
I mean, how many of these women have found a baby raccoon that, I found a baby raccoon and I tried to nurse it to health.
Hmm.
Sadly, it didn't survive, but it's those things that I do on a pretty normal occasion where if I see something, any form of life, be it tree or animal, if it's trying to thrive and it's in a bad situation, I go out of my way to try and help it. I put labor upon myself for the sake of something else. How many women do that today?
I don't know. I
And
mean, I don't have
that
those
was a
those numbers.
yeah, I know it's not a question that can be answered. It's more of just I went on a walk and I came to that realization,
Hmm.
and it's been proliferate. I'm gonna try that again. Proliferating around in my mind lately.
Hmm.
I think the issue mainly is that there is a lot of women online and they don't know how to deal with it properly. Because if me and you are online, we don't go into like Twitter 24/7. I barely touch it. I don't know if you do.
I'm
But
on there a few times a week.
yeah, I
I
mean,
just don't even think about it, and then when I go on, it's like, oh, I got to see what's next. I got to see what's next. So I end up spending too
yeah,
much
I mean
time.
that's what it is. And I usually force myself off of technology
Hmm.
to go and take a daily run,
Right.
to make my bed, to
Hmm.
do this, to do that, because I understand the importance of living a life. I think, and this also because in China, in Japan, this is happening too. Feminism and all of these issues are coming up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? And I have missionary family down in Africa who are saying themselves they're not coming back here because of all the strife.
Yeah.
What's different between Africa, not just in the dating scene, and the West more abroad? The internet.
Yeah.
I'm
The
assuming
internet is an issue. Also, I mean, it's just I think a lot of it has to do with culture.
culture for sure. I'm not
So
I'm not disparaging that culture would be a massive issue.
because you talk about China and you talk about Japan, you mentioned China and Japan. Well, China is my understanding. Now there might be some expert out there who's watching this and is like, "Oh, you're totally wrong," and fine, correct me in the comments, please, because I want to know the truth. But my understanding of Chinese women is they have a culture similar to ours, in that women actually are the ones in charge. Women are the ones in
Mhm.
charge of everything. And I've talked to Korean women who are like, "Yeah, we want our sons to stay away from Chinese women, but we want our daughters to marry Chinese men because the Chinese men are going to be supportive, whereas the Chinese women will be demanding." So.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it ends up being. And like, I've had my parents give me the talk of, "Hey, when are you going to get married? You're 21." I'm like, well, I mean, number one, I'm 21, man. I'm only 21.
Right.
It's not like I get it. Like both of my sisters that are older than me are already either tied to knot or dating someone,
Yeah.
and I'm just alone in a trailer making videos or writing books. I mean,
Yeah.
heck, how often a day do I write?
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. I get it. Y'all are like, why am I not going anywhere? It's like,
Yeah.
do you see this stuff?
Well, it was difficult for me even when I was 21. My father thought I was gay because he never saw me with a girlfriend, and it's
People make that joke about me.
yeah.
Literally, smile gay confirmed is a joke that is everywhere.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me says smile gay confirmed.
Well,
My parents do it.
you're right. Dating is rough, man. I'm not
Oh
gonna
yeah.
deny that. Man.
And I mean, if there's a guy out there suffering, I'm gonna put it to you like this: what I'm wearing right now, I was wearing jeans at the time. But I started wearing this when I go out. Now, if I'm going out to a restaurant, I obviously take this off because pain in the ass to wash leather. But I went out, and sure, it was an older lady. It was an older black lady, but she walked in, and we had a little discussion. That doesn't normally happen if I'm going in the tank top or, the sweatpants,
Mm-hmm.
sweatshirt. Nobody really talks to me when I'm wearing that.
Yeah.
I put on some get up, and she says, you look like a total BA. And I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting that from her. And
Yeah,
so,
the
to
dress makes the man. They say the clothes make the man, and that's true. Like a woman will reject you, people in general will reject you, but then you present yourself in a different way, and then they think you're the bomb. So
I mean, yeah, I've kind of just embraced the biker look to a degree. I'm like, yeah, this works. I'm seeing results, and it's not just older ladies. It was just, I made an older ladies' day, and that's why it proliferates in my mind more than just the other small talk I've gotten.
yeah,
Where it's like somebody will say, "Hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And so it's wearing it's part clothes, part working out. I've been trying to work out a bit more. Biggest issue is the only gym around is Planet Fitness. I really don't want to be helping them after the stuff that came out about them.
yeah. I know. I mean, like the closest gym to me is the Planet Fitness. It opened up like a year ago, so it's really new too.
Hmm.
And it looks like they got a bunch of good clientele in there as far as the people that are going there. They seem like they're reasonable and respectful, which is not the case at the gym that I mostly go to.
Hmm.
But I'm like, and it's gonna be like, it's $10 a month or whatever, $15 a month, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna
Well,
support
yeah, I
them
mean,
after what they did. But the thing is what you can do is go onto the internet, go onto the YouTube, and look up Pilates and look up calisthenics, and you don't
mhm.
have to use a gym to get into shape and to be in really good shape. Some of these guys doing calisthenics, damn, they look like they should be on the cover of Muscle magazine.
Huh. Well, I
So
mean, I mostly just walk my dog or I go for a run.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I do. And I know I'm not the peak
Mhm.
of human health.
Mhm.
I got a little bit of a pot belly. I could probably cut back on a few sodas here and
Mhm.
there. I could probably cut back on some of the seconds that I get at dinner. I understand that. And I'm okay with saying I'm not perfect. I'm
Mhm.
not, I'm not very well to look at.
Yeah. Here, let me. I'll just share an image here real quick with you. I don't know if I have like image sharing or screen sharing.
You should be able to screen share. If not,
Let me
I
see.
can just give you permissions to.
Let's see here. So can I?
You should be able to now. Let
All right.
me. I'll
So there you
just
go. You can
stop
see
mine.
this. You can see this.
Mhm. Yeah, I see this.
That's calisthenics. Every girl, probably in the whole world, is like, he's what I want. That's what I want physically in a man.
Well, I mean, what is it? I heard this said before, and I'm starting to really be like, yeah, I get this now. What is it that a woman is saying if a man was to say it about a woman? They're saying they want 6 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
all this, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like you coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Smile, what do you want in a woman?" Well, I want her to have big titties.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to be really good in bed,
Mm-hmm.
and I want her to make me a good old meal.
Okay.
That's what that is.
Well, right. I
It's no
mean,
different.
yeah. I mean, women have their requirements or their what they want, and men have the
Yes.
same thing. It's just a matter of whether or not what you're looking for is reasonable.
I mean, and
It's
I have somewhat unreasonable standards that I'm willing to say, yeah, I'm not probably not going to get that, and I'm fine with that. In that, I am a pretty rare person who likes a woman who is at my height or a little taller.
okay.
That's rare, and the reason why is I like the ballroom dancing, eye to eye, not having to look down, not having to look up, things like that. Where it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't like them short,
Well,
personally.
women tend to wear high heels when they're dancing, so solve that
Yeah,
problem.
that works too. I'm not saying, and I'm saying I get it. I'm probably not going to get a woman taller than me or at my height. I'm fine with that. But women don't do that
Yeah.
at
Oh yeah.
all.
Yeah. Women will hold on to their standards, and they'll think that
Mhm.
they have reasonable standards when they're being completely irrational. Like they'll say, I want a man who makes at least six figures, and I want a man who's at least 6 feet tall. And it's like, okay, so 6 feet tall in the United States, that's 15.5%, 14.5%, like that, 14%, 15% of the population. So right there, you're limiting yourself to a smaller percentage, and then you want him to have six figures too, which you're cutting that way down to what, like 5% of the population, of the male population. And what do you offer? Do you offer the things that a man who is making six figures and is 6 feet tall is going to want?
Yeah, I mean,
So
what is it that they want? Because you're offering. The issue is, you're offering what a man offers to a woman. I've noticed this.
Oh, they do
Oh,
that
we
too.
have
Yeah.
this big car, we have this big house,
Hmm.
and it's like, I may be a 21-year-old who barely leaves his little humble abode here. I don't get out much.
Hmm.
But when I think of what I want in a woman, I mean, I would like someone who knows natural medicine, so that way if we have little ones, we don't have to have big pharma in the way. Someone who can, at least cook a few decent meals, so that way if I'm busy and I can't cook for you, you or the kids or whatever, you can cook for them. I'm not a very staunchly you should be pregnant and in the kitchen kind of guy.
Hmm.
I'm willing to compromise in some aspects. If I have the energy, I'm willing to do it. Honey, I don't feel like cooking today. Yeah, let's go. I'll cook for you.
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm not very staunch in that
Hmm.
because life is crazy. You have to make and move around some things. I am the kind of person where it's like, if I had the woman in front of me right now that would have, at least some sanity, be willing to at least have me lead to a degree, because, I'm not a submissive kind of guy. I don't think anyone takes me for that. But when it comes to that, it's like, if you're willing to do that, shoot, I'll have 12 kids.
Hmm.
I'm that kind of person. You put me in the right situation with the right woman, I'll go at it. You want to deal with population crisis? There you go.
12 kids is a lot.
I mean, a bit hyperbolic from my
Yeah.
end, but you get my point. I'm
Yeah.
that kind of a person that will go at it for a lot of kids. I'm that kind of person. But continuing on, because we're just gonna go everywhere in this one, aren't we? That's how it tends to be with us. All right, I'll go ahead and read from here on. In a video posted on, the freak is that?
Grabine? I don't know.
Grabine? I'm assuming just some other blue sky. I'll just make that assumption. Women embracing the trend appear with captions such as, "Sure, my body, your choice," before pouring unknown liquids into drinks. I want to shout out a channel called Know Your Meme that explained this one. If I can find the video, I'll send it to you, by the way, because it was a while ago. That whole saying started because of contraception and how mothers were like, we want to be allowed to continue doing that, whereas there's a big group of men who are like, we didn't get the option to say we don't want it because we were too young when it not contraception, circumcision, my bad. Wrong word. Circumcision was the word. Where it's just like men saying, yeah, we didn't want to be like that, but our mothers did it to us anyway.
Right.
And so they started saying, my body, your choice, as a form of humor because of that. And, well, now people are using it because, trolling the left from abortion stuff.
Right.
But you get my point. You could say either way that it's wrong. You're using it for a wrong reason, thinking that we're trolling you about abortion, which some people are. Or, I mean, you could just take it as, hey, you're literally poisoning people. That's probably where we draw a line,
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be poisoning anybody. This is, sure, my body, your choice. Well, they're countering what men have been saying now as a joke. Is from what I can tell as a joke. Men are saying, your body, my choice. Because we all know it's illegal. That is 100% illegal. You can't just force yourself on a woman or anybody because that's illegal. So for a man to be saying that, he's got to be joking because it's not something that any man is going to, any position a man is going to put himself into. And men will avoid even having consensual relations with a woman because they're afraid of accusations.
I mean, that's close to where I am.
Yeah.
When it comes to Western women, if there's a woman coming up to me like that, I'm like, yeah, back off. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I thank you for taking interest in a country bumpkin like me, but I must decline. And people are like, there's a lot of good, like conservatives are constantly saying, there's a lot of good people down in the South that you can actually go and marry.
There are?
I'm down here and I don't see it. Now, you can say, well, Smile, you stay in your trailer. Fair. I am a hermit that lives in his trailer most of his life. He doesn't go out much. My own family, I have like 7 sisters. They have issues where it's like close to feminism. It is down here. Do not get it twisted.
Right.
It's going to be just as much of a slog, just maybe a little bit less to find somebody down here. I've found like 1 or 2 women down here where I was in conversation with them. And Yeah, they had values I agreed with. Now, when I was talking to her, trying to get her number, and then I found out, oh, she's already taken. Do you know my reaction to that?
Okay.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Good for you. I hope you got yourself a good man.
Yeah.
I'm not angry
Right.
that a good woman is taken. No, that's good for society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, of the good women here, they're either already taken because high school sweethearts, or they're hard to find. So I don't want to give men's hope up, because I know a lot of men who are just completely disenfranchised because they're like, well, what's the point? I want to have a family. I want this. I want that. And they're depressed as heck because of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, I'm not here to pound it into you because I want you to hate women. Very contrarily, I love women.
Right.
I have 7 sisters. I love all of them to death. Even though I say I'm pretty close to MGTOW, I still allow myself to talk with women. I talk with all kinds of people all over the political spectrum,
Right.
because I want to know where people are at. That's important to me. And I just don't think that the way to go about it is to doom and gloom. It's let's adapt. Let's find ways to actually find somebody in this landscape.
Yeah.
Whether it be passport broing or something else, I
Right.
don't see the traditional way of doing things as usable anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't like show your feelings in the West as a man to a woman and have her reciprocate that, unless
No.
and until she's already committed to you, and even then you have to be careful. But like if you lead in the West with, hey, look, I want a relationship, I want to have a long-term commitment, and I'm looking for somebody, and they'll just like run away. So
Yeah. I mean, with me, it's like, I already know what my parenting style is planned out to be if I ever was to have kids, because I think about that. I'd say the best way to do it is a little more family-oriented Asian father stereotype. I mean, Asians have amazing results. And what does that mean? That means being strict, firm, but fair. If I have that kind of scheduling, every Saturday is family day. If you mess up and you don't do your chores or something else, well, I'm not gonna let you come along that week. Or I may just say, you know what, you're grounded because you missed this. I'm going to be firm. I'm going to tell you why you messed up. Well, not why. I'm going to tell what you did that messed up, and I'm going to make sure you are in that. You understand what you did wrong. There's not a woman in the West that would agree with that.
really, you think?
The Western, in the Southern area, I would say, like down here, no. Oh, come on, baby, don't do that to him.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that so many times. I could walk through a Walmart and hear that 3 times.
Yeah.
Whereas the father putting his foot down saying, no, kid, you can't have Skittles. But, Dad, no. Then the wife comes up, come on, honey.
Yeah.
No, you can't get that, because that's one half of it, and the other half is, how dare you take the lead on this?
Yeah.
You're not going to find anyone in the West with that kind of mindset unless they are an Asian woman raised in an Asian area. Then maybe. And that's why it's like, I'm probably going to have to look in Asian areas for a wife, because the way I wish to raise my family, well, it's on their level. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think you have to. I mean, it would be a lot easier if you went to
Yes,
an
it
Asian
would be
country,
much
but you
easier.
can find women in the United States who share that philosophy.
I mean, it's possible. I found one. She was taken, and I'm glad.
Mhm.
I hope they get married and have a very fruitful life.
Mhm.
I am very happy for them.
Yeah, but I think it
Continuing on.
is like a much more like Midwestern, and from what you're saying, Southern mentality for the women to be like, oh no, just be lenient with him, just give him whatever he wants.
Yes, and that is not edifying to the child in any way.
Yeah.
I believe, yes, you should give your child rewards, for sure. I'm not against that. But big carrot, big stick is my general way of thinking about it. Anyway, to continue on, this is juxtaposed with medieval images of women pouring potions. How whimsical of a word choice there. Dear Lord. While the captions tell the story of Tofana, who was responsible for the deaths of over 600 abusive husbands in 17th century. Okay, I was wrong. It is Italy. One woman in the video leans toward the camera and whispers, Aqua Tofana, am I right? Aqua Tofana, if you know, you know. Some have framed the trend as a modern-day reminder of the long-standing fight for women's rights. Meanwhile, critics argue that referencing a deadly poison, even in jest, can send the wrong message.
Yeah. So, what rights do women not have in the United States? Last time I checked, they have more rights than men do.
I mean, yeah, the way I put it is if you want to have abortion rights, take away the draft.
Yeah.
I'll be fine with that. And again, I'm a relatively pro-choice guy. People get mad at me in the Christian areas because I'm Christian and pro-choice. I've always said, look, America is not a Christian country, and Romans 6:6 in the Bible says there will always be non-believers. I believe America is great because of freedom of religion, and therefore I am willing to say, let it go to the states.
Yeah.
That's my viewpoint. As a Christian, I will save who I can, but you can't save everyone, and I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, and really, it wasn't a constitutional law, so there was no reason to keep it federal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to fight for that and try to make it a federal law again, fine, go fight for it. There's nothing stopping you. You're allowed to protest. You're allowed to petition.
I agree with that. And I will say, with all sincerity, if you want to have abortion rights, let's even the playing field then and give men the right to not have to go die without any agreements to it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the draft, and I'll be very, very okay with states' rights abortion.
Yeah.
I
would
mean,
just say I would do this. If you want to have abortion rights, then men have the right to not be forced to pay child support. So
that too.
A man could just choose,
go with
like,
that.
I'm not going to be a part of this child's life because I didn't choose to get her pregnant. She went behind my back or whatever. She lied to me about being on birth control or this or that or whatever. And
I mean, I remember. I don't want to get too far into my own family life, but I remember whenever my parents ended up cutting ties. Yeah, it was a tooth and nail battle that my dad had to fight to keep us.
Yeah.
I mean, stepmom even came in, and yeah, it was tooth and nail.
Well,
but I think,
to be fair, I think depending on the state, you can get out of paying child support because it's based on, depending on the state, your income. My uncle, he got divorced and his ex-wife took the children and moved to a different state. So he was living in Illinois and he just stopped working, and so he didn't have to pay child support because he didn't have any income. So.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think the biggest issue here is, hey men, if you're going to a bar, if you're going to a public place, watch your drinks. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this. Well, this is common rules, obviously, but be a little extra vigilant because people are already talking about this. And for those of you who are saying, well, men are joking about your body, my choice, things of that nature, they're not doing it with the entire background of people getting mad over an election.
Yeah.
And the men are not doing this in a way of, I don't see any real threat behind it.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing with the women, though, is women looking insane and then saying this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the reason I say this is I'm looking at both sides as, evenly as I can, not trying to make judgments. The men who are saying this are people like Matt Walsh, who is a known troll.
Yeah.
Somebody I personally don't agree with his tactics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of ad hominem in any form of debate. I personally try not to use it, even though I did use it for saying nut jobs. But again, if you're going to poison a water supply...
If somebody is a nut job and you point that out, I mean, if somebody's actually insane or acting insane and you point that out, that's not an ad hominem. People think that ad hominem is any insult focused on the person, and it's like, it's not. Is a person being crazy relevant to the argument? Probably, because you're arguing with a crazy person. And are they actually exhibiting crazy behavior? If they are, okay, then you're fine.
I mean, yeah, you could put it that way. That's why I was hesitant to call them a nut job at the beginning. Because, again, I don't like the idea of using those things because it's not good to an argument to just insult the other side. One way I ended up doing this when I was talking with a far leftist at one point was saying, look, man, and this was over climate change, which you and I both agree can be an issue. I believe you're further pro fixing it than I am. But I said, look, man, the left wing is playing you on this. And they asked me how. I said, all right, let me tell you a story. Just let me do this. And they actually let me talk, surprisingly. I had said, there is a type of paper that was used before the modern day that allowed the Constitution to stay intact up until now. That paper was grown out of hemp. I mean, as a reasonable person, do you think the paper we use today could have been that long and still stood up even in the containers that the Constitution was in?
Probably not. Also, it has to do with pound weightage of the paper. So
Yes, indeed. And so I'm saying here, I basically went through a long story to try and get it to him, but I'll cut it short here. Hemp is a crop that can be grown dang near everywhere in America, can be used for very strong rope, very strong paper, very strong clothing. That kind of stuff you can make businesses on. And I tell you what, I bet you it could actually help decrease our current debt. Probably substantially, if you were to ask me. Nowhere near completely covering it, that's for sure. But it could take some of it out. And do you know why we're not growing hemp?
Oh, because marijuana's been illegal for decades.
Yes, but also you don't have to grow it and it be a drug. I'm sure you can grow it for other reasons. From my research, and again, don't take my word for it, do your own research on this. Hemp was not being used anymore because people who cut down trees and stuff, all that lumber industry, petitioned the government and paid them off so that way hemp would not be used.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I know there was a legal battle, and they challenged everything that hemp was being used for at that time. I don't know if that had anything to do with this or not. But
now, let me ask you, anyone, do you think if we grew hemp, which grows faster than a tree, and can be harvested faster than a tree, would that not be conducive to allowing less CO2 to be out in the air, less global warming issues because there's more plant life out of the hemp plant?
Well, it would reduce the use of trees, and trees are a huge carbon sink. So that could be the the factor that changes it.
I can agree with you there. I was just saying, look, we're going to have a lot more greenery if we do this. Therefore, I see it as a better thing, a better way of doing this. But you, left-winger, who is seeing this and is not advocating for this, now that I've told you this, the left is playing you, man. They're playing you a fool. I'm not a right-winger. I'm not a left-winger, but I can point it as I see it.
Yeah.
I think that person said, you know what, I'm probably going to go to the Green Party. I'm not telling you to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm giving you information.
Yeah, do whatever you want to do as far as your political affiliation. Just know that. So, yeah, in my opinion, is global warming is happening and human beings are causing, or at least the main driver of it. And people always want to point out on the conservative side, oh, look, global warming is a hoax. I'm like, are you sure it's a hoax? Or is it that the left is not letting a crisis go to waste?
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe it's a hoax entirely. I know that we are getting colder currently. From what I've seen, we're going into an ice age, which is a problem. I don't know how true that is. Again, that's from my own research. I need to do a lot more of it. I'm only 21. Expect a level of ignorance. So I'm not going to tell you this, and I don't want you to believe it. Keep it with a grain of salt. I'm seeing we're currently going into an ice age. If that's the case, well, I think we should be, either way here, we should still be investing in nuclear power. My stepmother's mother's husband, that's a weird way to say it. My stepmother's mother's husband actually does welding for power plants. He knows this stuff. He says at this point in time, if we make small nuclear power plants dotted across America, and I should probably get him on for like a video or two just to discuss this. I really think I should. If we do that, they are easy enough to contain, easy enough to work with, that we won't have another Chernobyl.
Well, we've never had a Chernobyl.
We have.
We had 3 Mile Island. That was our biggest one. But yeah, it's just a matter of managing it. The only thing is you got to do something with the nuclear waste, and that's the problem.
Oh, I agree with that. That's going to be the main issue. I'm thinking, look, we got Elon doing this kind of stuff with space exploration, dumping in space.
Well, the issue with that is if there's a problem with the rocket, say a rocket gets launched, and say the rocket could explode, the rocket could crash, and then you have all that radiation poisoning.
Yes. I can get that. So I'm not purely saying to do that. I'm definitely not saying throw it into the sun, because I'm not going to play God to that degree and say the sun will obviously destroy it. There could be any number of issues with that. And I don't think we should mess with something that is, conducive to all of our life.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about throwing it, because the sun gives off all forms of radiation as it is, so it wouldn't cause a problem.
Maybe it wouldn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've had people tell me before I should do a Joe Rogan thing because I can talk to somebody for 3 hours. I'm sure we could if we didn't have time restraints.
Right.
And I've been saying, I this is just a thought coming off my head. It has nothing to do in relation with anything we're talking about. I could do that, but there's already a Joe Rogan. named Joe Rogan.
Well, there's also Lex Friedman and all these other people that do the same
Mhm.
thing. But I mean, it's not a bad business model. Honestly, it seems to be working really well for a lot of people. So maybe something you should look into doing.
I probably could. I mean,
Hmm.
I already know a few people I could do it with.
Yeah.
There's people I've been talking to. One person I love debating with and talking to all the time. And I'll just bring this up here because it's his viewpoint and I find it very fascinating and I think you'll find it fascinating. He said that the modern day right and left is a prime example of the two sides that have been fighting throughout history, which is theists, atheists, and I'll get to it in a minute. Basically, from what I understand, I could be saying it wrong. I don't, I'll put the general gist so that way I'm not going into two exacts and could possibly get it wrong. There's a side that believes in reality and that the observable reality is something that we exist within, a box we are in. Another side believes that reality is not real because what I see and what I'm experiencing is not what you're experiencing and seeing. Therefore, we can't know what reality is and we can create reality ourselves. And those are the two major clashing parties. I'd love to debate him, like get into a deep dive of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like somebody you could talk to for a while.
Yes. And again, I'm just some country hick in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I ain't nobody special. I wouldn't call myself the smartest or the brightest, but I like researching stuff. I like talking to people about this kind of stuff. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, you don't have to be the smartest person to ask questions to somebody and
No.
just get their opinion on stuff. So
It may be something I do. If you see Smilecast popping up anyway, that's probably what it is. The biggest hurdle is going to be video editing a 3 hour long video.
well, maybe just do an hour. Maybe keep it to an
Yeah.
hour at
Stick
first
to an hour
until
first.
until you
Yeah.
can get like built up and then
That could work. I'm sure I could eventually have you on for an hour for that. It
Yeah,
could
yeah.
work. The only issue is like I'm doing a media company. Media and politics rarely mix, and I try to keep my media, my politics.
yeah.
But as a literal figurehead of RMD, I sent that book in. Currently, we're working on audio shows, and it's stuff like that to where it's like I want to do this kind of stuff that we're doing right now, but I also understand it could be a bad idea for the business model of the other company. And
Yeah,
so
it
it's
could
finding
interfere
that
with. I mean,
balance.
yeah, what you want to do, and you might have to have two channels or
Mhm.
something. And
That's probably what I'm going to end up doing.
yeah,
It's just been, it's crazy how things have changed. I've not seen cancel culture work anywhere near as well lately, so I'm not as worried about it as
Yeah.
I used to be.
hmm
And it was like that was a major issue for me for sleepless nights.
oh yeah,
I really want to talk about this stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I love whenever I go off of a call with you or anyone else that I debate like this. I go off of it ready to run a marathon. This is it's like food for the soul to me.
yeah,
And so I love doing this stuff. I love talking to people, figuring out other people's perspectives. And yet if I do that, the cancel culture could have eaten me alive. And I knew that. Because I'm a genuine person who's discussing things, saying my own opinions, and not giving a shit what other people think.
right.
And yeah, it's just crazy. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always going to be a battle with whoever controls the platform. Are they willing to let you speak? Are they willing to push your
Yeah.
channel, your perspective?
And
Or
I
they
don't
wanna
want people
stifle you.
pushing anything.
Right.
I'm somewhat of the opinion of you just, have no algorithm, have it to where it's search and see.
Yeah,
I'm closer to that opinion than anything else. Or have it to where it's just showing people that you follow on a social media platform.
right.
I don't like the algorithms. That's one reason why I stick to Discord and,
Mhm.
I do use YouTube and Rumble, but I don't. I mainly use them to listen to videos of like you. I listen to like every one of your videos that come out.
Yeah, yeah.
I listen to Black Conservative Perspective, a little bit of Timcast here and there. I used to listen to TYT for the leftist side, but they're seeming to not be going that way anymore.
Yeah, they kind of figured it out.
Yeah, so it's like, well, who do I listen to now? They're all kind of going or not being around anymore.
Yeah, there seems to be a big shift.
Well,
Big
here's my
shift.
prediction. Here's my prediction for what's going to happen in the next couple, I'd say, decades. I don't know how the left gets out of where they're in right now, personally. That hole they dug for themselves, I don't know how they get out of it. What I'm seeing is two factions that are splitting apart, creating what may be the next two parties, which is based on one main question. Should America be the world police? But think about it for a minute. What are the two major sides with any major form of traction? Neocons and the America First. Now, I'm not saying like Liz Cheney has traction, But, there's people that vote for that side of things and people who vote for the other side of things. That's what my prediction is. Now, again, I'm saying this so that way if I'm dead wrong in the next couple of years, you can say, Smile, you're wrong, you dummy. I'm like, yeah, I was wrong. Is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's me just looking at things and saying, this is what I think's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a backlash right now to what the left was spewing, which I mean, I was part of it. You were part of that. We were the ones speaking out, going, "Hey, look, we're not evil because we're white men." That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I was trying to keep on doing it because I remember this was the reason I really started delving into it. I was doing a writer's challenge for a full college ride. At the time, I was a complete normie, and the book, the short story I wrote, which I may end up publishing, I want to edit and fix a few things. I wasn't completely happy with it. I would say, if it makes your English teacher actually shed a few tears, it was a pretty good read.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah, I actually cried during the ending of the story. It was really well written. I think you got this. I find out it was, if I remember correctly, don't get it twisted. I could be wrong here. I'm pretty sure it was like some sort of female with one arm that was African American descent that won it.
Uh-huh.
And I actually read through it. I don't remember it being that as good. Everybody was saying at the school, you should have got that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, if everybody I'm hearing is saying this, and again, it could just be, people egging me on saying, no, you should have got that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that person's work was complete shit. It wasn't. I think it was probably pretty close, and the real reason was, at least looking back, a 1 or 2 vote thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But that brought me into the fold of what's going on. Why are people... And that's why I started saying, oh, wait, MSNBC is saying that I am the incarnation of evil?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm sorry? So that whole moment started a few months for me of watching MSNBC, watching Daily Wire, and watching Timcast to see the 3 different sides.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you see the 3 I'm watching now? Because MSNBC isn't one I'm watching anymore.
Right.
I realized, okay, I can't be on the left because they absolutely despise what I am. And as somebody with some self-respect, I'm not going to be on that side. Even if I agree with some of your policy perspectives, it's not something I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
So I'm closer to, honestly, I'm somewhat closer to Tim on a lot of things. I'm not exactly there with him on most things, but is what it is. From what most people have told me, I'm very close to a almost anarchist, even though I would never call myself an anarchist. I believe it was, what was the word? I'd have to look for it again. But basically just small government libertarian.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. And yeah, I would say I'm closer to something I came up with myself, which is, I call it techno-Amish, is what I would call myself. Which does sound very not correct. You can't be technology
right.
and Amish.
Yeah.
That's not 2 things that mix, but here's what I'm getting at. It's the step up from Amish. Once there's the pods and all this and that, there's going to be people who disagree with that, and they're going to be techno-Amish. They're going to say, yeah, we cut the hard line at certain forms of technology. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I would be the kind of person that if I had the money and resources, I would go up to Wyoming, buy a ghost town, rebuild it, and I'd start getting ostriches, start getting, all kinds of ways to be self-sufficient in a small little commune-like town. And then I would make a radio area. We'd have a 24/7 radio show. I would be Amish to a degree, but I would not let our cultural endeavors die out. That's the issue I see with Amish. They don't get their opinions heard at all.
Right.
And I think that's not conducive to them because they don't matter. And I'm not saying that in like they are plebeians. No, I want them to matter. If I could get my hands on an Amish person, that sounded weird, and actually have a sit-down discussion with them, I'd love to.
Right.
Genuinely, I would love to speak with an Amish person, get to see their perspective. But that's so hard to do.
Well, it's going to be difficult for you because you don't have a vehicle and income. Yes. That's the problem that you're facing is you don't have a means by going to where the Amish are and then being like, hey, can I talk to you?
I mean, that's the sad part. The main thing for me is I have the surgery coming up and I can't actually pay it myself. It is expensive.
Yeah.
But if I want to eat in 30 years, like eat solid foods, I have to have it.
Well, yeah, when you have a hole in your face.
Yeah.
You got to get that fixed.
I had 2 holes in my face as a baby.
No.
And then, I have the back end of my mouth that had a hole. Now they just took out my cheek here. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, this one, and put it up there. Well, what
No.
they're going to do is cut open my skull, move it forward, and I'm not saying up here. It's just in the jaw. I know
Yeah.
people are like, cut open your skull. Holy crap! No, it's just the jaw, people.
Yeah.
And then they're just gonna put some nails around like this, and it should make it to where my mouth is even.
Well, hopefully that all works out.
I've been asking my doctor 50 different questions. I've been getting on their nerves because it's like I need to know what's good and bad. Can I have soda? Because this metal screws going in there. If it gets in there, it could rust it and be a problem.
Well, they'll be covered by
stuff
flesh.
like that. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like 50 different questions that I didn't care how stupid they sounded.
Yeah.
You want to be sure, is how
Right.
I am.
You're getting your face cut open. Yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah. It's a very big deal. And hopefully, maybe I'll look a lot better. Maybe it'll end up being a handsome Squidward moment.
Yeah. Maybe all of a sudden, girls will be throwing themselves at you.
Oh, lordy, lordy. If they do, well, there we are.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should head off.
Yeah. Yeah. Aqua Tofana. All right.
Aqua
there you go.
Tofana.
So.
It was good speaking with you again, man.
Yeah, it was good talking to you too.
You want to just do the outro, or you want me to say it?
Yeah, I can do it. It's fine. Yeah. So this article goes on. It talks about the 4B movement, which is actually a minority in Korea, and it's becoming a majority here in the United States. It seems like it's not. It's really not. But yeah, why would you even joke about these capital crimes? Because in actuality, if these jokes or threats, if they're taken seriously, you could be arrested for that. So
it's like my pop said. My pop said when I told him about it, because it was my mom that told me. I told my pop. He said, "Yeah, now if somebody dies, your dumbass is going to be the one blamed for it."
Exactly. I used to have a student who used to, like, anytime like something would come up and I was like, okay, I ask him a question like, so you know what happens then? He's like, yeah, you burn the place down. Every single time he's like, yeah, you burn the place down. I'm like, no, look, man, you can't be saying that. I know you're joking. But what if somebody walking by the classroom hears you say that, and then there's a fire somewhere on campus?
Oh yeah, I know that type of particular person.
Yeah,
they're the person my age that's like the arson is fun stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. So the world is still going crazy, but it looks like there's been a turning point lately here, and things are gonna return to rationality.
I wouldn't say that yet. I'm gonna say I'll trust it as soon as Donald Trump takes his freaking McDonald's French fries into the White House.
There you go.
That's when I'm gonna say, all right, things might be better. Until that day, I'm not buying it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he won the popular vote, and it was, people are saying it's largely because look at what the left was saying. They were just saying crazy stuff. It's like, what?
Oh yeah, it was unadulterated garbage. And even then, I was more of a Bobby Kennedy. I was more on his side until the obvious happened.
Yeah.
So I ended up voting for Trump anyway, and this was my first voting cycle for president.
Oh yeah,
people say, yeah, you messed up voting for Biden. I didn't vote for him.
You were 17.
You did.
You were 17. You couldn't vote for Biden.
I couldn't vote.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. I mean, I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and
hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah, we'll see you next.
Please subscribe to this guy if you can.
He's amazing. Subscribe to Smile now that he's back on the internet, and
I'll be trying to look for videos. I'll keep an eye out. Most of the time it's because I don't go on Twitter that I can't find anything good.
Well, go on Twitter. I mean,
I probably should. I don't know who to follow.
I'm on there, but they'll make suggestions to you, but you want to follow Libs of TikTok, you want to follow Delusional Takes, you want to follow Women Being Awful.
I'd say send those to me. I'll definitely get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that. I don't use Twitter because I don't find it as conducive. I don't see a reason to use it, but there is reason. I probably.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Really, that's what it is. You just got to take it with a grain of salt, because if you get like emotional about this stuff, it's gonna ruin your day. Just like look at it and go, wow, that's interesting, and move on to the next thing. Because
it's not that I'm emotional; it's that I see how people just throw ad hominem everywhere, and I'm like,
yeah.
You're not having an edifying conversation. I'm bored.
Yeah, but it also gives you kind of a feel for the pulse of what's going on out there. Social media.
Yeah, I'm sure it could.
So, but all right, that's all we got for this time, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yo Man Smile is over and out. Peace.